So, in this episode, I'm going to be talking a little bit about my last trip to New Orleans. It was my first time really going out there, and it showed me a lot about myself, my environment, Los Angeles, and a lot of different things that I probably haven't unpacked yet. So, I'm going to try unpacking it here with you guys. Hope you enjoy. I went up there with my grandfather. It was a shoot that I had to do. This was my first time having my work presented in front of a live audience as well. So I'm very grateful for that. It was, different experience to get, a live reaction to my work. And to my surprise, everybody loved it. I've gotten responses such as you helped ground the audience. It was very impactful, very inspiring. And, it just really warmed my heart. The first night we got there, it was around 12 p.m. Or AM rather, whatever midnight is. And I just kind of wanted to explore. I just touched down in a new city. Never been there before. It's just, I don't want to be inside of the hotel, midnight or not. So I went on a little stroll. I took my camera with me. I was very, cautious because I wasn't familiar with where I was. And, if you're walking around with a camera, anything expensive, and you're not familiar with where you are, I would highly suggest paying attention to your surroundings just so you don't stand out too much, So as I was walking up the street, I noticed that there were a lot of stores and gift shops with the marketing and branding of Voodoo. Now, this was really different. To be somewhere where the terminology and the history of it is openly respected after leaving an environment where it is demonized immediately. And this somewhat started to show me that environment plays a really big part in your growth, your success, and everything else. You could embody a certain characteristic that people aren't receiving, not because your delivery or you as an individual is wrong, because the people you're choosing to deliver the message to is wrong. Your environment wasn't right. And, it's kind of funny because this ties back into something I said in my survival mode little episode that I posted on YouTube, where I said it's going to be very hard for, a seed to grow if the soil was messed up. But you're not going to really know what the problem was or how to fix it until you realize that it was the soil that was causing the seed to not grow. It was never the seed. It was where we planted the seed. And the moment we took that seed and put it in some better soil that was more nourished, that was more, just a better place for that seed to flourish, it grew immediately. And that's something that seeing that branding really opened up to me because, especially for a lot of us, when we try talking about more spiritual, more, outside the box ways of thinking, it causes a lot of tension. And it causes a lot of people to also silence themselves. A lot of spiritual people have a lot of ancient wisdom and a lot of, very strong gifts that if they spoke up and used their voice, they would be able to shift a whole group of people literally in a sentence. But we've demonized these individuals and we've almost put them on a back burner and made them feel so unaccepted that they feel as if they're wrong. And I'm saying this because I am one of them as well. When you embody a certain energy where you're not being received the way that you should, it becomes very discouraging. And luckily for our spiritual individuals, we all hold the strength to withstand that adversity. But, a lot of us just choose really not, we just don't want to. When you already know what somebody's reaction is going to be, you choose to not respond. So, I took some pictures of everything around there, and then I headed back to the hotel because, granted, it was midnight. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know the customs. I didn't know, safe zones, etc. So I went back to the hotel. The next morning, we had to prep for sound check and all this other type of stuff, but we did have some free time. I believe these are, uncles or aunts or very close friends to my papa. They were both photographers, so they took me and my papa around to some more black owned type of areas. And to no surprise, it was heavily gentrified. The communities still held that black spirit. It still held the root of, its originality and its authenticity. However, it's been a lot of newcomers, and you can see it just like anywhere else in America, where we have predominantly black or cultural environments and spaces that get took over due to capital and tax gaps. Because I'm pretty sure we all know gentrification wouldn't even be a thing if we were in the same tax gaps as the people trying to buy us out, but we're not. So it is a money issue. And it was just something about that environment, regardless of, how many different skin tones you may run across, you knew where you were. So much so that even opposite race, or not even an opposite race, a different race, because that terminology, let alone, could cause a barrier. And I don't want barriers when it comes to skin color over here. So even with, different races, they acknowledge the spirit too. So much so to where there were mutual understandings with people without you even having to say anything. New Orleans was the very first place where I went, and I was automatically getting recognition, not on a, celebrity fame type of recognition. I'm talking about on a human respect, spiritual level of recognition. You hold a door open for a group of people, and somebody in that group acknowledges you. It takes the door from you and be like, you're a good man. Thank you for holding the door for us. I got it from here, King. That type of stuff you don't see. It's just little dynamics like that are missing. But this place held that spirit, and wherever the spirit is, there's also going to be a heavy embodiment of love. That is 100% guarantee. Wherever the actual spirit is at, there is always love first, questions second. I was even listening to different poets and different artists to where even they were speaking on their ancestors and their spirits, and that let alone lets you see that certain practices are universal. You don't have to look or sound a certain way to feel a certain way. Because truthfully speaking, I'm starting to feel as if this is all spirituality is. It's your feelings. It's you. Because your feelings is a representation of you. However you feel, that is usually how you're going to act, or think and maneuver through life. If you are a very happy and joyful person, you are going to make more happy and joyful decisions in life. If you are a very traumatic and a very sad and a very, depressed soul, or depressed, in a depressed situation, your decision making is going to reflect that. So when you consciously take note of your emotions and work on them, heal them, and unpack them, you allow yourself to get a direct connection to God, your highest self, the God in you, the God that isn't broken, the God that didn't get their heart broken in 8th grade, the God that didn't lose their job 3 weeks ago, the God that never had to go through what your physical body went through, Every time you acknowledge your emotions, you're one step closer to that embodiment. And that's all my spirituality has been for me. Me looking at me. Me using everything outside of me to see what is me. Think about it. If you're somewhere, it wasn't by accident. It doesn't matter if you're in your front lawn, you're across the country, in a different country, on a different planet. If your spirit and your 2 feet took you there, there was something there that resonated with you in showing you a representation of something within inside of you. So when you take a moment to analyze, why am I on a block full of voodoo branding? And why is that the one thing catching my eye? Regardless of all the food, the people, all the different clothes, everything. It's that's catching my attention. Maybe I need to pay more attention to that. Because that's my emotions and my spirit telling me that I see something. I may not know what I see. I may not even say that that's something I want to do. But my spirit sees something. And that, let alone, is enough for me to get curious and want to go do some research. You can do a little bit more understanding of why this is catching my attention. You see, so many people do that, and it also ties into relationships too. Ask yourself, why am I talking to this person? There's something in you that I like. There's something in you that's catching my attention. Whether it's good or bad, you should always know what it is. Especially if you aren't someone who's traveled. And when I say travel, I mean actually travel. You know, traveling is not going to Cancun, going to Jamaica, and sitting in a nice ass hotel with room service and, you know, a beach view and all this other type of shit. I could do that in Los Angeles. I get the same exact view here. What I can't get is the culture and the spirit of where I'm going. That requires me to somewhat go to the trenches, somewhat go to the ghettos, get me out of the tourist attraction, take me to where the people live. What are the people doing? What are the people eating? What do the people think? What do the people pray to? Let me see how you guys think. Because if you guys are thinking this way and it's working over here, and another group of people are thinking this way, and that's working over there, that's showing me a little bit more that there's so many different ways to think about one situation, and maybe nobody's wrong. Now that's something we haven't thought about. What if nobody was wrong? What if God, the Most High, knew exactly what he was doing when he made each one of those religions? What if each one of those religions was used to touch a certain person and give a certain message to that certain person, so that certain person would fulfill that certain person's destiny? What if Christianity wouldn't have worked for individual A, but I don't know, Buddhism does? Or what if that doesn't work and spirituality does? Who are we to say how God communicates with somebody else is wrong? That's you calling judgment, correct? Now, granted, we all judge. We all cause some level of judgment. But that judgment is meant to stay with you. You see, don't outwardly judge anybody and outwardly cast that judgment when it's not your job. Because if God truly had a problem with this person, that person would have been handled. But if they're just trolling along on their business, clearly God has something. God's okay with them in that moment. So who are you? I'm talking that shit. I don't even know where this came. Honestly, I don't even know where this is I really don't know where this is coming from. The older I get, the more I'm getting called to go to Africa. Or at least somewhere else. Because I feel like there's certain qualities about me that I just straight up dim myself to fit into society. Now I know this isn't good, and I'm working on it, like every human should. When you know you have a fault, don't be a jackass and just say, "Oh, that's me." No, I'm working on it. But like I also said, it is very hard to grow somewhere where every time you place a brick, you're somewhere where somebody feels the need to push another one off. That brick wall is going to take too long. You're going to have to sock some drawers off and cut some people off in order for you to get what the fuck you need to get done. You feel me? Don't take it literally. Please don't hurt nobody. But you get what I'm saying. You're going to have to do what he do to get some niggas out your way. So you can go ahead and do what you need to do and build that brick wall. You may have to build that brick wall by yourself sometime. You may wake up and the only bricks that are there are the ones you placed. That is okay. I'd rather be there than be somewhere with a nigga kicking my wall over every single time I go to sleep. It's not fun. And to anybody else who's trying to build a wall, build a community, build a platform, or find yourself in an environment that doesn't want you to succeed, yeah, you can try proving a point and, coming up and doing all the other type of stuff in the city that they told you couldn't come up from. Yeah, you can. Or you can be smart and remove yourself completely and just grow somewhere else. Who said you had to grow where you're choosing to grow? Why can't you grow down the street? Why can't you grow somewhere else? As long as you grow, that's all that matters, right? Because by you growing, you can help everybody else. You can do everything else you're asking and saying you want to do. But I need to grow first. I can't help anybody else if I can't help myself. And nobody else seems to have the eagerness and the drive to want to help me. So I have to help myself. That's with everybody. Especially when you're walking in purpose. This is my chosen one. The ones to where you know you have a purpose. Walk in it. And understand that sometimes you may not be understood. This is something that they always tell you. But if you can find a way to find that level of focus to where when adversities present, your first instinct isn't to run. See, that's all focus really is. When adversities get put in front of you, can you concentrate on self? Let's say you're going through a breakup. How do you heal? By focusing. Focusing on what? Yourself. When you focus on yourself, what happens? You supply your needs. You give yourself what you need. You give yourself the attention, the space to heal. Because the attention you were giving outward, the moment you gave that attention inward grew and you healed. But if your focus was stuck on the person who left you or what that person did to you, it was going to be very, 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 very hard for you to heal because your focus was distorted. That's all focus is. Taking your focus off of your distractions, off of what's pulling you and into you. And focus could look like a million different ways. Focus is meditating. Focus doesn't have to look like this aggressive 9 to 5, 24/7 grind. That's focus too. But focus is just the act of focus, just centering your attention on you. That's it. You focus when you work out. You focus when you go on a walk every morning. You focus when you go brush your teeth. Because you know, by you brushing your teeth, that's you helping you. That's you fulfilling you. That's you taking care of your self-care. That's focus. That's it. But we make focus seem like this very hard, very difficult thing to do. Yeah, it is. Once again, if you're in the wrong environment. But if you're around individuals who represent that best qualities in you, oh, it's very hard. It's very easy to focus. It's no longer difficult. When you choose friends who have qualities that you're trying to keep up with, you're trying to go to the gym, so you get another friend who also likes going to the gym. It's going to be very easy for you to focus on going to the gym because you're around other people who's going to the gym. I think that's a very easy way to look at things. Focus is paying attention to yourself. And by you paying attention to yourself, you place the things around you that you need. You build you. I want everybody to really, after this episode, sit and ask yourself, what do you need? Not what everybody else is telling you you need. Not what your stress is telling you you need. Not what your ego, your girl, your parents, your son, anything. What do you need? Do you need a little bit more love? Do you need some more attention? Do you think you need more discipline? Do you think you need less friends? Do you think you need more space? Do you think you need better food? Ask yourself, how do you feel? Do I feel sluggish? Do I think I probably need to go work out more? That's what my body's telling me. Me personally, I know I need to loosen up. I'm way too focused. Not way too focused, but I don't allow myself to chill. So that's what I need to do. That's me focusing. By me loosening up, by me intentionally going outside and just living, that's me focusing. Because I know my body needs to relax. That's focus too. But yeah, that's just kind of what I've learned / experienced while visiting New Orleans. It opened my eyes to environment. Environment is huge. Environment is probably the make or break of survival mode. Now that I'm really seeing it, the environment may be the last key. Just some food for thought.